If you're just starting training today, I'm sure the biggest question that you have is this: will I ever get hired by an airline? Just 2 years ago, the historic hiring wave brought 10,000 pilots to the major airlines. But now, as we head into the fall of 2025, the tide is turning. Are the flight decks full? Is the music stopped for those building their hours? These are good questions. And in this video, we're going to do a deep dive specifically into the pilot hiring trends for the rest of 2025, as well as to give you a glimpse into the trends that will affect 2026 and 2027. So we're going to break down the data, see who is hiring now and what the forecast looks like based upon the data that is available today. So whether you're a student pilot, a CFI building time, a seasoned regional, military, or corporate pilot looking to make the jump, this video is for you. So let's dive into it. Section 1, the big picture. Factors affecting the flight deck. So first, we have to look at the big picture. Three major factors are shaping pilot demand right now: passenger demand, fuel costs, and aircraft deliveries. Passenger demand remains healthy, but the revenge travel surge has leveled off to more sustainable traditional growth rates. This means airlines are more cautious about adding new routes, which in turn moderates the need for new pilots. U.S. air traffic demand showed mixed results in July of 2025, with JetBlue and Newark experiencing significant month-over-month growth, while Spirit Airlines and airports like Phoenix saw declines. Overall, business and leisure demand remained strong, exceeding 2024 levels, but major hubs faced post-holiday dips. Challenges like increased cancellations in North America, a 42% rise, and capacity struggles at airports like Newark due to FAA restrictions impacted overall performance, although FlightBI's report indicates monthly traffic increased for many airlines and airports. If you're enjoying this video and finding value, you're definitely going to want to join the Fly with Trent weekly newsletter, where I share tips, tricks, and strategies on how to get yourself from where you are now to the flight deck in as little time as possible for the least amount of expense possible. And to do that, just head over to flywithtrent.com. Next, we have fuel costs. With oil prices staying high, airline profitability is under pressure. This financial reality forces them to become more disciplined with costs, and pilot salaries are their single largest labor exposure. As of August 2025, the U.S. Bureau of Transportation Statistics had not yet released its official report on aviation fuel costs for July of 2025. Based on the data from June of 2025 and preliminary figures for July, here's a summary. So we've got cost change from May up 0.2%. Total fuel expenditures, $3.74 billion, but again, that's not available for July yet. I'm sure it will be out soon. The biggest factor creating a bottleneck is aircraft delivery delays. When airlines don't get the new planes they ordered from Boeing and Airbus, it creates a pilot pipeline jam. They can't create new captain seats, which slows down upgrades for first officers, which in turn slows down new hire classes for those trying to get in the door. When it comes to deliveries, Airbus has maintained its position as the world's largest aircraft manufacturer, out-delivering Boeing in the first half of 2025. Boeing has delivered 280 commercial aircraft in the first half of 2025, up from 175 in 2024. 209 737 MAX aircraft, 14 767s, 20 777s, and 38 787s. Passenger production of the 767 and 777, besides the uncertified 777X, has ended, so any 767 or 777 aircraft delivered are freighters or military air tanker variants. In the first half of 2025, Airbus delivered 46 A220s, 286 A320neo family aircraft, 14 A330s, and 27 A350s for a total of 373 aircraft, meaning that Airbus outpaced Boeing's deliveries by almost 100 aircraft. And as a side point, the Airbus A320 family is poised to overtake the Boeing 737 as the most delivered commercial aircraft in history by cumulative deliveries. Section 2, Major Legacy and Airline Deep Dive. So what does this mean for pilot hiring at United, Delta, and American? Hiring has officially shifted from rapid expansion to a replacement-focused rhythm. The primary driver is the steady wave of mandatory pilot retirements. According to FAPA, as of the end of June, the 13 major airlines, Alaska, Allegiant, American, Atlas, Delta, FedEx, Frontier, Hawaiian, JetBlue, Southwest, Spirit, United, and UPS, hired just 52 pilots. This brings our yearly total to 2,242, which means at the halfway point, if things are projected to ramp up, 2025 might be another normal year of pilot hiring. In fact, if we look at the combined best guess from the majors for hiring for this year, we might be on pace to at least meet, if not surpass it. American, Alaska, and Hawaiian Airlines are forecasting to start hiring this month, and Southwest has indicated they will hire 140 pilots off the street in November and December. Combined with the number of pilots being forced to retire over the next decade, increasing from the previous retirement tsunamis from the last few years, and we're probably looking at better times ahead eventually. The overall demand for airline pilots remains strong, driven by more than 17,000 mandatory retirements projected through the end of the decade, according to officials. In 2025, nearly 2,000 mandatory retirements are expected at the legacy airlines. The global backlog of aircraft needing pilots is anticipated to be also a significant factor, with 2025 deliveries forecast to rise to 1,802 aircraft, according to the International Air Transportation, which represents about 340 airlines around the globe. As for Delta, in 2024, Delta Airlines is facing a steady stream of annual pilot retirements, and obviously that is continued on into 2025, following a peak year in 2022. Projections from airlinepilotcentral.com based on mandatory retirement age at 65 show Delta anticipating over 500 retirements per year through to 2030, with lower numbers after that. These retirement figures drive the airline's hiring strategy. As for American Airlines, they don't publish exact figures for annual pilot retirements, but the number is influenced by the FAA's mandatory retirement age of 65, with a significant wave of retirements expected industry-wide over the next few years, according to Airline Pilot Central. And then we have United Airlines will experience increased pilot retirements due to the mandatory retirement age of 65, with the carrier aiming to hire 10,000 pilots by 2032 to replace those departing and expand its fleet of 800 new aircraft. While specific forecasts for United's retirements isn't detailed, the airline's hiring goal align with industry-wide projections, showing a strong demand for pilots driven by retirements and fleet growth. The FAA confirms that thousands of pilots will hit age 65 every year for the rest of the decade, creating a constant long-term demand. However, with the immediate shortage filled, hiring has become far more selective. The question is no longer, do I have the hours, but it's more of what kind of hours do you have? Airlines are showing a preference for applicants with significant Part 121 PIC time, check airman experience, or a strong military background. An internal recommendation is now more valuable than ever. While total pilot hiring is on track for a healthy 8,000 pilots this year, that's a noticeable drop from the record-breaking 13,000 pilots hired in 2023. Cadet programs are still active, but their intake has moderated to match the new, steadier hiring pace, according to FAPA. Now let's look at low-cost and ultra-low carrier outlook. Southwest Airlines is not currently hiring pilots for new hire classes, having suspended the majority of its hiring for 2024 due to a combination of factors including low retirements and delayed aircraft deliveries. However, they are using their Destination 225 program and an in-house pilot development program to train and bring in new pilots to join the company. And I've had a number of people here comment on videos I've made in the past who are in the 225 program, so it's definitely something that you may want to look into if you're interested in working for Southwest. Spirit Airlines, on the other hand, is not actively hiring pilots now and is currently furloughing pilots due to ongoing financial difficulties. While the airline is an equal opportunity employer and generally hires first officers, the current outlook indicates pilot layoffs rather than recruitment. Now let's talk about regional airlines where captains are made. So what about the regionals? The pipeline is now much more stable. The days of emergency level captain shortages are over. This means captain upgrade times, which had dropped to as low as a year, are beginning to lengthen again to a more traditional 2 to 3 years. Flow-through agreements to the majors remain the biggest draw, making positions at wholly owned regionals like Envoy, Endeavor, and PSA highly competitive. In mid to late 2025, regional airlines including Boutique Air, Cape Air, Commute Air, Endeavor Air, and Envoy Air are actively hiring pilots, with other regionals like PSA Airlines also showing significant hiring activity and recruitment efforts. These airlines are recruiting to fill pilot positions, including both first officers and captains, due to ongoing pilot attrition and the resumption of hiring by major carriers that reduce the pool of available regional pilots. Although many U.S. airlines have scaled back their hiring. So let's break it down on an airline by airline basis. According to airlinegeeks.com, Boutique Air is hiring first officers for all its pilot domiciles across the country. Cape Air is currently accepting applications for captains based in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Commute Air is hiring first officers and captains. Endeavor is currently hiring first officers and captains. Envoy Air is accepting applicants for pilot positions from the general public and through its cadet program. GoJet Airlines is currently hiring first officers and captains. Horizon Air is only hiring experienced first officers for its fleet of Embraer 175s, the aircraft I was trained on, at all bases across the Pacific Northwest and Alaska. Applicants need to have 200 hours of FAA-approved prior qualifying time. Mesa Airlines is hiring first officers and captains. Piedmont Airlines is hiring first officers and captains and also operates a cadet program. PSA Airlines is accepting applications for first officers and captains. Republic Airways is hiring first officers and captains. And finally, SkyWest is hiring first officers and captains and also has a rotor transition program. SkyWest is the largest regional carrier and flies under 5 brands: Alaska, American, Delta, SkyWest Charters, and United Express. I wanted to let you know that I've recently started another YouTube channel. It is called Invest with Trent. It is all about investing in commercial real estate, something that I've had a tremendous amount of success doing over the last couple of years. To learn more and join the weekly newsletter, visit investwithtrent.com. Now let's talk about cargo and corporate alternate paths to the cockpit. We'll start with FedEx. So is FedEx hiring pilots right now? Well, the quick answer is not publicly in a big way as of August 25th, 2025. What's actually happening is FedEx's pilot page isn't listing open pilot positions. Instead, they're keeping a candidate pool, so you need to create a profile, and if selected, they'll invite you to apply when a career slot opens. So why so quiet? Well, the pilots group has been in a prolonged contract talk through 2024 and 2025, and management focused on cost controls rather than growth hiring. That includes things like reduced minimum guarantees, early retirement moves in 2024, and continued labor friction in 2025. So what can you do if you want FedEx? Well, step 1 is build your FedEx pilot profile and keep it updated monthly. FedEx says that matters. Step 2, consider the purple runway pathway via feeders like Mountain Air Cargo or Empire. Those carriers are posting openings more regularly and feed into FedEx. Now let's talk about UPS. Is UPS hiring right now? The short answer is it's happening in waves. And the most recent first officer position for Louisville showed filled as of today, August 2025, when I'm filming this video. What's actually happening is UPS did open first officer hiring earlier this year for World Sport SDF, but they open a requirement, they interview, they fill it, and then they close it. So you won't always see the active listing. So why is it so lumpy? Well, a big driver is the UPS air cargo contract. UPS won a 5.5-year base term that started ramping up in late 2024. So staffing is tied to that integration rather than nonstop recruiting. In the near term, the pilot's current contract became amenable on September 1st, 2025, which can also influence the cadence of new hire classes. So what can you do? Well, step 1 is to create a profile and job alerts on the UPS careers page so you're in the pool before the next wave opens. Step 2 is consider the UPS flight path route via Ameriflight. It's a mentored pipeline that can lead to a UPS interview when hiring is on. Now let's talk about Atlas Airlines. So is Atlas hiring right now? Well, the short answer is not actively. There's no open first officer positions as of August 25th, 2025. Instead, they're running a first officer talent community and say they're not currently hiring with no timeline to resume. So what's actually happening? Well, hiring looks wave-based. Early in 2025, industry outlets noted Atlas was accepting new hire FO applicants, but the current career page shows the pipeline on hold and only open for the talent pool. Atlas's network has been shifting. The Polar Air Group JV with DHL is being wound down in 2025, while Atlas has also launched a long-term ACMI deal flying a 747-400 for Turkish cargo in May. That kind of reshuffle affects crew planning more than straight growth hiring. So what can you do? Well, step one is to join the first officer talent community and keep your profile fresh. Atlas will ping candidates when classes open. Step two, explore pathways to success with CAE and keep an eye on Atlas at pro events like the OBAP YNPGA. And then step three is consider feeder pathways like Ameriflight to Atlas or Alpine Air pathway to position yourself for the next wave. When Atlas flips the switch back on, you'll be in the pool and networked. Fly safe. And finally, according to Airline Geeks, ABX Air is hiring first officers for its fleet of Boeing 767s. It flies the 200 and the 300 variants in all cargo configurations, primarily for DHL. And Amerijet International is hiring first officers, but only through its flight school pathway programs. The cargo airline flies Boeing 767s for DHL and Maersk under its own brand. Now let's talk about those of you with aspirations of flying corporate jets. For corporate pilots, the hiring forecast for fall 2025 is stable with elevated demand compared to pre-pandemic levels despite a recent market slowdown. While the post-pandemic surge has leveled off, the long-term outlook remains positive due to sustained growth in business aviation and the need to replace retiring pilots. So corporate pilot demand, well, there's several factors that are creating steady and sustained demand for business aviation pilots. Continued high activity. So although the peak hiring pace of 2022 and 2023 has slowed, business jet activity remains well above 2019 benchmarks. The user base for private aviation has permanently expanded due to the demand for flexible private travel. Fleet expansion and new aircraft. Growth in new business jet deliveries is projected to continue in 2025. Forecast from industry data providers like Cirium and Honeywell project an increase in jet deliveries, fueling the need for more pilots. New aircraft models, such as Bombardier's Global 8000, are also entering the market, driving growth. Pilot retirements. The need to replace retiring pilots remains a significant driver of hiring across the aviation industry, including the corporate sector. According to CAE's 2025 talent forecast, the business aviation sector will need 33,000 new pilots over the next decade to replace retiring talent and support industry growth. We also have a strong North American market. The North American market is forecast to remain the largest for business jets and is expected to account for 2/3 of demand over the next 5 years. This will keep domestic hiring of corporate pilots robust. For aspiring corporate pilots, the market in fall 2025 is competitive but full of opportunities for those with the right skills and experience. There will be competition for the top jobs. Major operators like NetJets and FlexJet see continued demand, but the hiring process has become more data-driven and selective. Pilots are seeking desirable schedules, aircraft types, and base locations, increasing competition for premium positions. So you need to focus on your qualifications. With a larger pool of candidates available during the post-COVID rush, pilot qualifications are under more scrutiny. Resilience, strong technical skills, and professionalism will be crucial for your success. In terms of strategic entry points, regional and fractional operators often serve as stepping stones into the corporate world. For less experienced pilots, being flexible on location or aircraft type may offer a strategic entry point into the business aviation sector. But what about headwinds? While the forecast is generally positive, potential market risks should be monitored. These include the following 3 items. Interest rates and economic shifts. Changes in the Federal Reserve's target rate could influence the private jet market through strong demand, though strong demand has persisted despite recent adjustments. Supply chain limitations. While improving, issues with engines and interiors could still cause delivery delays for new aircraft, affecting fleet expansion plans. And finally, the broader economic climate. Geopolitical tensions or a widespread economic slowdown could soften demand for corporate jet travel. So how do you stand out in this more competitive market? Well, there's 3 things. One is to perfect your logbook. Applications are electronic, so a clean, organized digital logbook with no errors is non-negotiable. Reviewers will scrutinize it, so make sure that it's perfect. Number 2 is you need to ace the interview and the sim. The technical interview and the simulator evaluation are where airlines separate the good from the great. Invest in professional interview prep. These services know what each airline looks for and are worth their weight in gold. And finally, number 3, maybe most importantly, is network, network, network. Go to pilot-specific job fairs like those hosted by the RAA and the OBAP. An internal letter of recommendation from a current company pilot can move your application to the top of the pile faster than anything else. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this pilot hiring update. As you can see, it's not the heyday of 2023, but the age of the professional pilot is here to stay. So what are you seeing out on the line? What are you seeing out on the web? What are you seeing in the data? Please do let me know in the comments. And if this forecast was helpful, maybe go ahead and click that like button because it will help YouTube to share it with more people. Fly safe. Thanks very much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next video soon. Take care. And if you would like to learn more about me and how I can help you get to the airlines in record time, make sure you visit flywithtrent.com.